I hadn't lost any real close family members until Jesse had passed. Other members of my family were having health issues, and she kind of, in a way, and I didn't even realize it at the time, was getting me ready for how to process a loss like that. And then she passed. And so all the things that she had set up, I used when she passed. I have to take an hour-ish time, and I have to go to that dark place. Now that life has kind of changed, my goal is to make it to World Games in 2029. You're in the valley, you're in the gap, like whatever the hard thing is, that's what you're willing to do. And as long as you have that mindset, odds are you're going to be on the right side of things.
When you first started coming to the gym, and now where you're at now, a world champion in powerlifting, and I have to emphasize, you are in the federation that you compete in is 100% natural. It's drug tested, like the Olympics. So there is no, I don't want to call it cheating, but you can't use PEDs at all.
Yeah, nothing. Can't remember offhand, but I believe I came off the platform. My coach was like, hey, we're going into round 3. If you pull the 385 and the other guy misses, you could jump into first. But like that, so that pull, there was a lot riding on that pull, because also if the Ukrainian had pulled his last pull and I missed my 385, there was a situation where I could have dropped out of third and been in fourth.
Oh.
So like there, like walking up to that deadlift, it was kind of like,
it's strategic when you're planning your final, because you get 3 attempts.
Right.
And it's very strategic when you're trying to plan your next lifts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, the equipment's been really fun. My best equipped squat is 1,027. And then
now, when you say equipped, is that with the squat suit or just knee wraps or?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So full squat suit and knee wraps. So in the IPF, you're not allowed to wear briefs though. So I know that a lot of people, there are federations that if you're in single ply equipment, you can wear a set of single ply briefs underneath that equipment. We're not allowed to. Like, you actually have to wear like underwear that has no legs so that they're able to see that seam and they know that you're not wearing any kind of briefs.
So your best raw was, what was it? 8 what?
Best raw is 393.
Squat.
It's like 850. I think it's like 859 or something.
Okay,
like
so
that.
859 raw, and then with your equipped squat, you were at what?
1,026.
So you added 175 pounds to your lift from the equipment.
Yeah, roughly, because when I get into the equipment, my hip heals up. So when I'm squatting raw, if I go too long squatting raw, my left hip will, like, I don't know if it's swelling or if it's just, years and years of abuse.
Yeah.
You have like, the elbow and the wrist and the knee and stuff. My hip will get really bad, and then I have trouble hitting depth. But when I'm in the equipment, because it acts as that second layer, that outer layer of like
compression, basically. Yeah.
It doesn't put as much pressure on the joint. It's just more pressure, over like the whole body.
Yeah.
So, so I mean, it's been good for my hip, but like anything, if you're taking something to the extreme, like it's not good for my overall.
Have you ever had your hip examined, like with an MRI or anything?
No, I had a sports like physio person take a look at it, and they were kind of like they were talking about how like it looks like I might have a little bit of a shift. Or like one leg, like I think Eddie and a whole bunch of other people just have like one foot that's just, or one leg that's just a little bit longer than the other one. And she was talking about how that might be the issue. And then we were also examining my squat stance. And at one point, before I got to quads, I had tore my right hamstring. And she was talking about, well, if that was right when you first started getting into like really heavy, squatting and competing, it may have just been something that you didn't correct because you tore the right one and then you started.
Now you started overcompensating on the other side.
Right.
Yeah. What year did you start coming to quads?
So let's see, I would have been, I think it was right after I turned 20. So that would have been like 2000, might have been 2009-ish, 2010, somewhere in there. Because I'm trying to think, because I was still working at nights at that hazmat place. And so, like, I don't know if you remember, like, I would get there, I'd sleep in the truck until people would get there, and then somebody come beat on my window and be like, hey, Jared, it was time to get in there. So, yeah, it was sometime around there.
So when you first started coming, because I want to go where I'm going with this is when you first started coming to quads, because that's when you got serious about competitively powerlifting, basically,
right?
Because you were around Eddie Coan. What were your lifts back then?
So,
2009, we're talking.
Right. So when I first came into the gym, that's a funny story because Eddie's massage therapist had seen me lifting at World's Gym.
Boris?
Yeah, Boris. And so he was like, well, you must train with Eddie. And I was like, no. I was like, I'd like to meet him one day, but like I've never been around him. He introduced me to one of the cops that trained there too, Mike.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then Mike was like, oh man, I'll be up there Saturday. Meet me there at, I think it was like 9 a.m. or something.
Yep. Saturday mornings we were there every Saturday.
And I was like,
it was bench day.
Yeah. I was like, okay. Like 20-year-old kid. I just got invited to a gym that I knew where it was, but I had never been in there.
Yeah.
So Saturday morning I pull up, I walk in and Mike, I waved to Mike and he's like, oh, okay. And Ed's sitting on that old school leg extension machine that was over by where his squat rack was. And he walks me over there and Jason was deadlifting and he misloaded a 2.5 kilo, I think. So the 2.5 kilo was on the far side, but he didn't load it on the close side. And Eddie saw it and he didn't have time to say anything before Jason went up to lift. Gets finished lifting. I'm standing there, haven't said a word to anybody but Mike. And Jason gets done. He walks over. He goes, "What'd you do?" And he goes, "Did I mess the rep up?" And he goes, "No." And he just hauls off and cracks him right in the jaw. And he's like, "You misloaded your weights." And he's like, "Load it up and take it again." And then he turns to me like complete change. He goes, "Hey, how's it going?" And like shook his hand. Eddie. And like I was like, "Yeah." Mike explained to him, I was training at World's Gym that he had invited me up here. He thinks that Eddie should take a look. And so at that time, I walked out, or Ed was like, "Hey, well, you ready to take lifts today?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say no to an opportunity to take some lifts." So at that time, usually Saturdays were strongman training for me. So I was a little sore, but it wasn't too bad. But Eddie worked me up to around like, it was kilo plates, but it was like between 690 and 705. And took a one single on squat, and then we went over and benched, and I think we worked up to around 405 on bench, and then he worked me up to like a triple on deadlift that was somewhere in the realm of like 650, and then I remember him being like, "Okay, so here's the deal: go downstairs, get a 3-month membership. I think it was like at that time it was like $99.
Yep.
Give the man $99. I'll see you 8 a.m. on Monday morning." Like, he didn't know my work schedule. He didn't know where I was working or anything like that. He just said, "I'll see you 8 a.m. Monday morning." And I was like, okay. And I went down and paid the guy and canceled my membership at World Gym. So,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, so that's my coming up to quads.
Well, the point I want to bring out about that is you're talking that is now 17 years ago. So let's just look at your squat. If you're squatting 605 17 years ago, and now you're squatting 850, let's call it, right? So you've added 195 pounds. Am I doing my math right?
Well, 705.
So 250. You've added 255 pounds to your squat in 17 years.
Yeah, I think we were doing the math the other day, and it's like 10 pounds a year.
Yeah, it's not much.
10, maybe 15. Because if you look on, like, Powerlifting Watch doesn't have all of my meets on it. And, USAPL has their, like, all the meets you've done with them. And then IPF have some of them and stuff. So if you look at that, yeah, like, I had years where because, we're talking competition lifts too. We're not talking, like, gym lifts. Because I have lifted more in the gym, but you know, most of your competitive powerlifters will say, like, if you haven't done it in a meet, it really doesn't count.
Right.
I mean, and that's the world you live in when you compete. Now, when you're done competing and stuff like that, and you're sitting around with all the guys and people want to talk about gym lifts, then, hey, like, yeah, fair game. But like, yeah, when we're talking my best squat in a competition with wraps when I came into Quads Gym for the first time was 705. So then if you're talking now, if you jump, like you said, jump forward and I'm squatting like let's just call it 860 to make it an easy number.
Oh yeah, I had my numbers wrong. I was thinking 605 was it was 705 was your squat that you first did.
Right. But
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't knee wraps, you know, because at that time, like I said, I was competing strongman.
Yeah.
So like I competed in a
Knee
backyard
sleeves.
powerlifting meet that had wraps.
Yeah.
But then I did USAPL only allowed its the compression sleeves.
Yeah.
Like Ray-Ban, I think
Ray-Ban, Ray-Ban, yeah.
SBD, and then there was like one other Mark Bell's company.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're talking, you know, 155 pounds, you know, over 17 years, that's not even 10 pounds a year.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, a lot of work for, you know, having like 3 or 4 years in a row where like it's a 2.5 kilo jump.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you take a 15, 20 kilo jump.
Yep.
You know, in a competition that you need it.
That's where because that's where I was going with that is like the moral of the story is it's nothing happens overnight. It's a long game.
Right.
In anything. I mean, look at your bench, right? You came in your first day you met Eddie, you benched 405.
Right.
And now here we are 17 years later, your best bench is 451.
Right. Yeah. And that's in a competition. And like I said, I've done more, but like that competition that I did, the 451-ish or the 210 kilos, 2 or 3 weeks prior to that, I couldn't lift my right arm like, you know, level. Like something had happened and we could never identify what exactly happened, but like I just could not lift the shoulder. Hey, but like on meet day, you know, as you know, a lot of times it's like, well, injuries are what they are.
I had the same thing happen to me at my very, very last meet when I benched. I tweaked something training here for that meet. It was Lance's meet. And, you know, I had programmed to do, I think it was 365 raw. I could only do 320 in competition because I tweaked my pec.
Right.
So
I think I was at that meet.
You were.
Yeah.
You were.
Yeah, because I think I remember talking to you about that because like I was asking you about like how you were rehabbing it, like what your plan was moving forward because shoulders for most of your power lifters, shoulders are one of the first things that go.
Yep. That's fact because I destroyed all of those years of like sucking your scapula in and rotating your shoulders down and then doing this, you know. It tears your shoulders apart. It gets you strong like for that movement, but for everyday life, you're fucked.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can bench a house, but like, I can't pick up my water bottle.
Right. Have you ever thought like, let me rephrase. What made you go the natural route and not using PEDs? So
when I came into quads was a very pivotal time in my life. Meaning that I was competing in strongman and all the strongman people that I had talked to, except for one, had told me, if you're going to do this, like want to go the professional route and actually do something here, you have to get on PEDs. There's no way around it. And the only person that told me other than that, and I won't say any of the other big names that I talked to, but Travis Odemeyer, I snuck back 2009, and behind by where the strongman were.
Yeah.
And I just bumped into him and I had like a 10-minute conversation. I can almost guarantee he doesn't remember me. And he told me, because I was 20 at the time, he said, wait to do anything until you're 26. He said, don't touch a thing until you're 26. And that was it. Like that was the only real advice he gave me. And so I was like, okay, if one of the best in the world is going to tell me to wait till I'm 26, I'll put that off. I'll do the work.
Yeah.
But then when I came to quads, it had to have been then right before my 21st birthday, I think then when I came to quads, because I get to quads and I have this in the back of my mind, like, okay, I'm going to train. I'm not going to think about doing anything else until I'm 26. da da da. Well, I get to quads, and Ed pulled me off to the side because, you know, there were other guys that competed in other federations, and he pulled me off the side and he said, "Never. You're going to stay away from it. You're going USAPL. You're going to go the drug tested route." And so, like, at that point, I was moldable. Like, I hadn't made up my mind if I was going to go one way or the other, really. And so then when he said that, I was like, okay. Yeah, like, and like I didn't question it, you know. I was like, and it was basically like I felt like he was telling me, like, you have the potential to go this route, so let's just go this route. And I mean, you can only flip that card once, but there's also that point of which if it doesn't work out, like, you can go back to the other route. But if you go the PED route first, it's kind of hard to go back. Yeah. From what I've been told, you know. So
yeah, no, for sure. Because you're used to, you get to a point. I mean, the same thing happens when you're on PEDs where your advances in the weights that you're moving or the advances in your physique start to become smaller and smaller and smaller.
Okay.
You get large jumps in the beginning, but then eventually genetically you get to a limitation.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Your body can only handle so much, right? And then you get to, like you said, where year over year, maybe you're lucky if you get 2.5 kilo increase in a total or in a lift or whatever, right?
Right.
But you just get there faster with PEDs. I still, to this day, I say, because when anyone says in any sport, they say, "Oh, he's cheating, he's on PEDs. Oh, he can only do that because he's on steroids." There are some genetic freaks out there. They're the reason they're the 1%. Right. Because you could take average Joe off the street and give him a shit ton of PEDs, steroids. They'll never get to the level of a LeBron or a level of Tom Brady. That's just bred into them.
Right.
It doesn't matter how much. I remember in quads one day, I had told Eddie, my dream was to always deadlift 705 sumo style. He's like, "There's not enough drugs in the world that I can give you to get you there." And he's right, because genetically my frame is just, I'm not built for that, you know?
Right. I mean, well, yeah, that brings out a good point of, we saw, I mean, even at quads with the core group of guys that we even had, there were people that trained there that were pretty open about being on stuff. And you're like, why? Like, the health risk that you're going under to get zero benefits out of it, you know, because I mean, like, you have to train. Like, you still have to do the training part.
Sure.
Like, that's what I don't think people put a lot of thought into, is like, just because you're taking something doesn't mean you can be like, "Oh, I'll go in and hit one set of bench and then I'll be able to bench 900 pounds.
Yep.
Like, no, like, you still have to do a lot of work.
I think too, people are much, much more educated when it comes to steroids now, because it's more widely studied and it's more bro scienced, where there's some guys that have, like, legitimately gone to school to figure out how to optimize themselves using PEDs, so they know how to, like, get better gains out of it.
Right.
But I think 20 years ago, those guys were just juiced to the gills. They thought more was better, and that's not the case.
That's so that's some of the conversations that I've had with not only like my current coach, Jeremy Hartman, but some other people kind of in the industry who have kind of tracked these the people who were the OGs of you know, untested powerlifting.
Yeah.
And how just beat up and broken some of their bodies are. I mean, and like, hey, good on them, man. Like, they were the first ones to do it. They were not only like the PEDs, but also like the lifts that they did.
Yeah.
And to do it with the equipment that they had, because the old school equipment was trash compared to what we have nowadays.
Yep.
And also to be the ones to pioneer, like, hey, this is the way you break up your training. This is how you have to recover, stuff like that. So, like, a lot of that also plays a factor into it. But yeah, I think
The science has vastly improved
Right.
in the last 20 years.
And I think that the people who follow that, do it responsibly, can have less side effects than those OGs did. I am a little concerned with some of the younger kids who you see who are like 17, 18, 19, 20, who you're like, bud, your body should not be able to lift what you're lifting right now. And you're purple, or you're like, your skin doesn't look right, or like you look just drained.
Yeah.
There's some health. And like, for me, like I just went and like, I've been recommending to anybody that I talk to, like, if you've been thinking about getting your blood work done, get your blood work done. Like those guys definitely need to get their blood work done, but like any lifter does who's taking this seriously. Cause I put it off for years. And the amount of stuff that I found out about just my own personal health by getting my blood work done, like I'm not going to say it scared me, but it was like eye-opening. I was like, oh my word. Like this is how deficient I am in these different things. Like switched it around, and within 2 weeks, I felt amazing.
Plus I think blood work, again, it gets back to blood work now compared to blood work 20 years ago.
Right. 100%.
They look at way more markers that we did not know about before that tell a way bigger picture, a bigger, longer story about what your body's going through.
Right. And it's more readily available.
Yeah.
Like you can, I mean, like when I had my kind of like, I don't want to say freak out moment, but I was having like some different, like just side effects and health issues that like couldn't explain. And I'm like, man, why am I feeling like trash? I had some swelling, like my joints all hurt, just different stuff. I didn't feel good. I just went online. I booked the whole thing from my phone at like 2:00 in the morning and had an appointment for the next like 2 weekends later.
Yeah.
I could have done the next weekend, but I was out of town.
Yep.
2 weekends later, I've got a full, I think it was like 160 different markers.
Yeah.
And, started being able to identify some things.
I don't even go to the doctor for that stuff anymore because you can do it online. I think it's, in my opinion, I hate going to the doctor for those kind of blood works because they're like, well, why?
Right.
Why do you need it? Like, just give me the fucking blood work, dude.
Right.
Just, I know what I'm doing here,
Right.
I think for the average person, sure, but nowadays you can go to I used to go to privatemdlabs.com.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd order blood work from there. You pick what you want to see, right? There's certain markers that I want to see, and some of those are bundled into packages. You choose the packages, you pay, done. Take the script, and they pull it, and then they send you the results. If there's anything alarming, then you could go to the doctor, right? Because the results will tell you if you're out of line in any range. But they make it so much easier now.
Right. And like I went through Function Health this time.
Yeah.
But like I like the way that they, put it in there. But like for yours, like I might take a look at that panel and like see like, oh, I like the way that they word this. I like the way I can scroll through it, the way the information is delivered. So like the cool thing with not going through your doctor is like if you want to try out a couple of different companies and find the one that works best with you. I know that a couple of the guys from the old days are using that Merrick Health.
Merrick, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just all I think you should shop around. It's like buying a car. Like,
yeah, for sure.
If you can find it online, you might as well go through and see what everybody offers and, go with the one that works best for you.
Yeah. How many more years do you think you can do this?
So that's interesting because I got asked the last time I was down in Indy taking some big lifts. I had one of the younger athletes. She was talking to me about longevity and what I thought, how much time I had left in the game. And I told her, I said, if I had stayed raw and not went with the equipment, I would probably either be done or be a year or two from being done right now, just because of how bad my hip was and my knee and my shoulder. By switching back and forth from the equipment, from raw to equipped, and being able to modify that training that way, I'm still learning a lot. Like I'm not an expert by any means, but I've said it that basically if I'm going to run it till the wheels fall off. And I'm going to basically make the sport retire me. Okay. Not that I want like a major injury before I go out.
Yeah.
But like most of the guys that I've talked to that retired on their terms were like, there was a definite moment either while they were training or while they were competing that they were like, this is the last one.
Yeah,
I'm
this
done.
is it. Yeah.
And it's funny, well, not funny, but World Games 2025 was supposed to be that meet.
For you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because had my wife not passed away, we were going to start working, like we were going to start a family. And so we were going to start trying to have a kid, stuff like that. So our agreement when I went on that journey of like, so I had to win USAPL Nationals, and then I had to win the Arnold. And then if I won both of those meets, she was like, yeah, then switch over to Powerlifting America and go to their equipped nationals. And if I win that, I'm guaranteed a spot at the World Games. And then that is the last meet. And then we go to start a family. And then if I want to go back years later, and that's the cool thing about powerlifting, is just because you take a few years off doesn't mean you can't come back.
Come back. Yeah, sure.
But as you know, once you've gotten to that that level,
Yep.
if you take a few years off, it's a claw back.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody's told me. I mean, like
Yeah.
I was talking to Lance about it not too long ago, and he's just like, dude, it's just you just scratch and claw your way back if you take some time off.
Yeah.
And so, World Games was supposed to be that meet. So now that life has kind of changed, my goal is to make it to World Games in 2029. And then
They're only every 4 years?
every 4 years. So Worlds,
Yeah.
IPF Worlds is every year.
Every year, yep.
World Games is every 4 years.
Oh.
And so that's why the qualifiers are the way they are, is you have to win your country's nationals to guarantee yourself a spot.
So, because I don't remember World Games back in the day. Is it a newer event?
I can't remember when the first one was. I think the first one was in the late 80s, if I'm remembering correctly, or that may have been the first time that powerlifting was a part of it, but it was only equipped powerlifting. This was the first year that they did raw powerlifting at the World Games.
I'm trying to remember because, well, mostly we competed in USPF.
Right.
And then IPF. I didn't compete in IPF. I was never at that level, but like Eddie and some of the others would go to IPF Worlds, which was huge. I'm trying to remember. Maybe Wade. Do you remember Wade Hooper?
Yeah.
I think Wade might have done World Games, actually, now that I think about it.
He might have, yeah. I know Gene Bell,
Yes.
I believe, did it, and then Jeremy Hartman went to one.
Okay.
And so it's been there. I know, I don't know if you know of a lady named Benika. She was like the top super heavyweight for, I want to say, a decade, maybe longer. And she did, I think, 3 or 4 World Games.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and it's one of those things that if you don't do it equipped, like, or if you're not in the equipped world or in that space and you're not in the IPF,
Yeah.
you're not going to really hear about it.
Right.
So-
Right. That's still impressive, though. I mean, even winning USAPL nationals, that's a huge achievement.
Yeah, that was a good meet. I don't think the top 2 or 3 guys, I think they felt a little bamboozled when I got there because a couple of them had been messaging me. One in particular, he's actually on the team with me over at Hartman's now. And he had messaged me and asked me, like, oh, are you doing the meet raw or are you coming equipped? And I just kind of told him, I was like, I might put some equipment on. I don't know. And like at that time, we had already done the record at that time, USAPL. I had already done straps down, straps down, loose knee wraps. So like I already at that time knew that we were going in to break that record for the first time. And then, because squatting, I mean, Ed was a phenomenal squatter. I mean, probably one of the greatest squatters of all time.
Yeah. And deadlifter, really.
Right. Oh, 100%. I think people forget about his deadlift because he was so good at squatting.
Right.
And I think I just picked that up, is that like squatting became one of my best lifts because really for my body weight, when I originally started training at quads, my deadlift was better. I was more competitive on the deadlift side than the squatting side. And then it kind of switched.
I remember when we would go to the IPF meets, the Russians and the Eastern Europeans would just fucking dominate.
Yeah.
And the difference is that I don't think a lot of people know this. They're state sponsored.
Yes.
So they will, the country will sponsor them. They'll live in dormitories and all they do is lift.
Yep.
All day. So these guys would come in and just throw up crazy fucking numbers.
Right.
Crazy numbers. I would be sitting there and there was guys in the same weight class as me that were doing, so like I competed at 198 weight class. There was guys that were throwing up 850,
yeah,
876, in the squat, deadlifting in the high sevens.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Right.
And then you compare that to the US. And the US guys would still lift crazy numbers, but I mean, some of these guys were 20, 30 pounds, 50 pounds more than the US guys.
Oh yeah, 100%. They were just experts at that, the equipment and stuff. They knew how that stuff operated.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that we've been discussing a little bit about my journey in the equip world is because I did Raw for so long, my equipped squat, a lot of times we have to really work on getting in a equipped squat stance because I'm so comfortable in that Raw stance. I don't get my feet out a little bit wider and I don't kick back my hips back as far enough as I need to, so it's a learning game. Mm-hmm. And when you get that many reps and you're sponsored and stuff, like you said, those guys, like they knew exactly what their equipment was going to do at whatever weight they were at at any given time.
Plus I remember too, that's kind of when the 5x5 routine got super popular because, what was that guy's name from Russia that was pushing? Do you remember the guy's name from Russia that was really like the master behind the 5x5 routine?
I'm trying to think of his name.
I want to say, it's going to drive me nuts. Anyways, he had sent the program, I remember, to Wade at one time, and then Wade sent it to me, and I tried it. And it's very unique because you're only doing like 80%.
Right.
But the volume is insane.
Right.
And when I say that, I mean like I was used to Eddie's routine, which was linear.
Yeah, linear progression. Yep.
Linear progression. So you'd come in and it was 2 sets of 8, and then the next week it was 2 sets of 6, and so on and so forth. But these guys, where like with Eddie's routine, maybe you were doing with all your assistance work plus your main compound lifts, maybe you were doing a total of like, I don't know, 16 to 20 total sets.
Right.
These guys were doing like 40, 50 total sets, not in one category either, meaning it wasn't all legs, right? So you might squat and then you're going to go and bench and you're going to do that twice a week, right? But then one day you're doing, 65% of squat, and then you're going to go do 85% in your bench. And then 3 days later, you're going to go and do 85% of your squat and 65% of your bench. Right. It was crazy. Eddie hated it when I was doing it. He was so pissed. But I learned a lot from it because it was a cool program. And I felt like I had some body comp changes too. I did feel stronger. However, where Eddie was right is it's very hard to recover from that type of program if you are not eating right, if you are not resting right, all of these things. He would be like, look, that's all these guys do. They sit in a dorm, they get fed, they work out in the morning, they go back and they sleep, and they eat, and then they go and train again, and then they go back and they eat and they sleep. That's all they do. Right. That's it. It's not like us where we've got, 9-to-5s or a family and all this other stuff. So,
well, that's why I think it's very important when, like when I talk to the younger kids that are kind of up and coming in the sport, or they're thinking about getting into the sport, it's like you have all this time right now to rest and recover. We can push your workouts a little bit more than you're seeing the 35, 40-year-old athlete that's been doing this for 20 years. Like that person knows like, hey, I can push my body to this point and still be able to recover enough to be able to train next week. Whereas, you know, the younger kids, like you're eating enough and you're sleeping maybe enough and you're 18, 19 years old. Like you should be able to do the 40 sets.
Totally.
You know? So, and I think Dave Tate talks a lot about that auto regulation, and it's been interesting as I'm getting older in like lifting years, you know, because I don't think 35 to 40 is technically considered old. You know what I mean? So if you're taking care of your body and you're being healthy about it and stuff, but in lifting years, when you get into the 20, 30 years of pounding the iron, you got to have some of that auto regulation where you know, like, hey, I'm starting to feel that like tweak coming. Better pull back, rest a little bit, and come back. You know, so it's just about being a little bit wiser. You know, a little bit smarter about training.
I think I can't remember. Do you know with the drug testing? Do they test for peptides?
So right now they put out a statement, like I think USAPL and Powerlifting America. I don't know if the IPF sent an email out, but I'm fairly certain both USAPL and Powerlifting America sent out emails that kind of explain like, hey, peptides are we consider them PEDs, and the drug testing will test for them. So up to that, I don't, like, other than those emails that were sent out, I don't know anything beyond that. Like, I don't know how the drug testing, you know, like what the drug tests actually test for. I don't know if they're able to detect that stuff. I
don't know either.
There's always rumors that, you know, they can test for, what's the one that bodybuilders were taking for a long time?
Oh.
HGH, I think.
Yeah. They could test for that, I know.
Right. So, I mean, there was a long time where, you know, I'd be talking to, you know, tested lifters and stuff, and some of the guys would be like, well, they can't even test for HGH. How are they testing for this? And then other people would be like, no, they can test for that.
Yeah.
Tell me you're not on it.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'd be sitting there like, I don't know enough to even have the conversation. So I just lift the weights.
Yeah.
You know, I'm that guy that I just love the training aspect of it. And I think that's why I gravitated towards the crowd at Quads, is because everybody seemed to enjoy, even though it was hard and we didn't have AC, and in the winter it'd be so cold that the weights would have frost on them. Like, everybody still enjoyed being there. You know,
we were a family. I mean, when Eddie was on, we talked about that. Like, we were legitimately, like, we all hung out after the gym, outside of the gym on the weekends. We were going out to eat. You know, I'd go to the movies with Eddie and Hega all the time. It was fucking cool experience for sure.
Yeah. And I had seen a video not too long ago on probably Instagram or something, and the guy was talking about how, like, it would be nice to know it was the good old days before the good old days are gone. And it's like, that was, for me, that was part of my good old days, you know, is being in that. And like, you can have good old days in every avenue of life, or every section of life. But like, looking back at that time, like, that was definitely like a big pivotal moment for me, and like getting to know everybody, and growing up as, like, because I was 20, like, yes, I was an adult man, but like, I was still learning a lot at that point. And being able to interact with like you and Eddie and you know, a bunch of the other guys, like Emmett, Scooney, Zach,
Zach, wow,
Bill, you know, and you know, just to be around everybody and bump shoulders with those guys, I think I made leaps and bounds in becoming, you know, a better man than I would have had I not been in the gym. If that makes sense. Like,
totally.
And just the aspect of being able to push yourself in the gym is one piece of that. And so like, when I see like guys talking about like, hey, I'm becoming a better version of myself, but they're training in a garage gym all by themselves. Yes, you are becoming a better version of yourself. I would also say be a good idea to get out of the garage gym every once in a while, at least, go train with a group of guys, bump shoulders, because then, the iron sharpens iron. Man.
Yeah, totally.
So
do you think that your training regimen has evolved or changed at all from your start at quads to how you train now?
100%. So only in the aspect of I've modified it to me. So like I said, like that piece of auto regulation before, and I think Dave coined that maybe. And I'm just going to give him credit on that to give it a term that I can actually use. But Eddie had always talked about like, hey, this is my program, but you still have to do accessories and stuff that get you stronger.
Yeah.
And he would talk about all the time, like, hey, just because I did this accessory doesn't mean you have to do this accessory. What are you weak in? Like, find that and attack it. And so my program has changed I do train in a garage with my brother, and then I go out and I train down in Indianapolis with Hartman and his team, or I'll go to, Lance's in Chicago every once in a while, or I'll go out to my buddy's gym, Ironclad Fitness out in Illinois. I have a few different gyms that I will go train at just for a change of scenery, travel a little bit, and then bump into good people.
Yeah.
But my training has modified in that if you don't have 5 or 6 spotters, you have to be able to finish each rep. Especially seeing how I have a 5-year-old nephew and a 1.5-year-old niece that are in the gym sometimes with us.
Yeah.
So you cannot have missed reps.
Yeah.
So my training has evolved in that aspect where I can push the weight, but I'm doing maybe a little bit more volume than I was at quads. Or when we do go heavy, I'm traveling to go heavy. And so then, like, when I travel to competitions, then it's like I'm traveling
to just go lift.
Yeah, just to go lift. Like, that was one big piece that was interesting for me because we didn't even do it really on purpose. Over the last couple of years with traveling to Indianapolis and stuff like that to train my heavy days, especially in the equipment. When I traveled to go to like Iceland for Worlds, like I got there, had a whole bunch of problems getting there, getting to the room and stuff. But then like the second that I got in the room and I was able to like sit down and like, okay, competition's in 4 days, my mind just flipped and yeah, no problem. So like that constant traveling, I think did a lot for me.
When Worlds was last year, right?
2025. Yeah.
It was in June?
It would have been November.
Oh, just a couple months ago.
So, no, I'm sorry. 2024 would have been Iceland Worlds. So they did do a Worlds this year, but after World Games and everything that happened in 2026, or sorry, everything that happened in 2025.
Yeah.
Because like, let's see, my wife passed. 2 of my uncles passed. I had a grandmother that passed before my wife, and just some other like personal stuff beyond that, where it was just going to Worlds after World Games. It would have been, I think, a 12 or 14 week turnaround. And the expectation for me is if I squatted 1,026, I squatted 1,026, I benched 672, and I deadlifted the 850 something. The expectation is that 1,070 kilo total, or sorry, 1,170 kilo total, we push that. So to do that, I felt like it was asking for an injury. Like I was asking for the world to give me an injury. I had held myself together for World Games. I didn't feel like pushing my body again to that limit in that short period of time was a wise decision. So they did do Worlds, but my last Worlds was in 2024.
And so how much time it's passed from when your wife passed to when you did Worlds?
So she passed May 29th.
Okay.
And then World Games was in October.
Oh, wow.
So it was not a primary topic of discussion, but I think it was a full week later after she had passed. Nobody from people from PA, the coaches and stuff that were part of the World Games coaching staff, had reached out and gave condolences and stuff. But they are like they have to make arrangements. Like you're going to China. Like it's not like you're traveling from one state to the other. Like this is it's an ordeal. Like you have to get permission. You have to have all this paperwork done. Like there's stuff that I didn't even realize that we had to do. And they did reach out and they were like, hey, like we're not pushing you to make a decision today, but like just so you know, if you are going, you have a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be done. And if you're not going, we need to give somebody else the opportunity to get that paperwork done. So nobody pushed me. And then, you know, Eddie, he had talked to me and he was like, what are you thinking? Jeremy Hartman had reached out. You know, they both came to the funeral and stuff. And we kind of had a discussion a few days after that of where's your head at and what are you thinking? And
that's a lot to process
Yeah.
after that tragic of an event.
I think though that with that having been the discussion of like my wife and I had the discussion that was going to be my last meet, it was very easy for me to flip that switch of like, I'm going to dedicate this meet to her. And then also it gave me something to focus on.
Yeah.
And I think because it gave me something to focus on, my body held together, my emotional state, my mental state, everything held together a lot better. Because actually after I got back from World Games, about a month and a half later, and life kind of just slowed down and I didn't have a next meet. I didn't have anything.
You didn't have an outlet.
Right. I wasn't like fighting to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I started having like all the things that people told me were going to happen right after Jesse passed started happening a month and a half after World Games. So I think it kind of prolonged that, but because it prolonged it, it gave me like, it's sad to think that like she was the person who I hadn't lost any real close family members until Jesse had passed, other than I had a grandmother, like I said, but like she was the first person that was like right next to me that had passed. And her mother had passed a year before that.
Jeez.
And she kind of was getting me ready because other members of my family were having health issues. And so she kind of, in a way, and I didn't even realize it at the time, was getting me ready for how to process a loss like that. And then she passed. And so all the things that she had set up and helped me work with my emotional state, my mental state and stuff like that, I used when she passed. So it was like the person that got me ready for it was the person I had to grieve. You know, so it was that realization was interesting. I don't know how else to put it. But like, yeah, just different ways that I do things. I talked about this with a group of other guys is like, I take time out to process it, you know? So like I set up times in my life, I'll feel it coming on about every, you know, like I remember the day she passed every day and the day after. Like I relive the day she passed probably every day, but about every 8 to 12 weeks, it builds up, and then I have to take an hour-ish time and I have to go to that dark place and I have to process the grief. And it has helped knowing that, and taking that mindset of the grief is the love that you had for the person. It's not something you did wrong, and it's not something to be ashamed of or anything like that. Like grief is grief. So, yeah, so I just take myself to that dark place, and a lot of it is like song playlists and stuff that she made and stuff like that she used. And that's what I'm talking about with like, she was the person that got ready, helped me get ready to process grief. And yeah, it usually takes about an hour, and I go to the dark place and then I dig my way out. And
how did you learn to do that? Did you seek help afterwards, or you just something you just kind of figured out? Or
so at Quads, we would always talk about being you can be physically strong, but if you're mentally weak, you're going to break.
Yeah.
The big lifts won't happen if you're mentally weak.
Yeah.
And I kept having issues when I would get up in the 98 to 102% area, and I'd fall apart. And like we kept like Eddie and I kept talking about it, and I was talking to other people about it, and it was kept being told to me, like, you're just a mental midget. You need to work on the mental aspect of it. And like, I had played football, like I had done hard things. There was just a mental. And so I want to say about 4 or 5 years ago, I can't remember the Arnold that I was at, because I know it was at an Arnold, and my brother was coaching me. So it might only been, I think it was like 3 to 5 years ago. And we're getting ready for squats, and like I walk out and we're getting ready to take the first attempt, and I'm just like I'm an emotional mess. Like I'm happy to be there, but like I'm partially in tears, and I don't know why. And my brother looked at me and he's like, dude, are you going to be able to squat? And I'm like, I'll be fine, but like get me out on the platform. And after that meet, I did really well. I won my division or whatever. After that, I was talking with my wife, and I was like, I don't understand why this is happening. Like, why do I get so emotional when I get to the platform? And she's like, well, when do you get emotional? Like, when do you allow yourself to get emotional? I was like, never. And she's like, well, at a heightened state, when you're at it means a lot. You've put countless years of work into doing it. Of course you're going to be a little bit emotional. So then she was like, well, what would happen if you just took out like 15 minutes at a time, maybe every 6 months, and just allowed yourself to get emotional about something? I was like, okay. Like, that's an interesting thought process, but like, okay. And so it was weird to like try it out the first time. But I did, and like clarity, like my mind was good for months. And so then as I was getting closer to a competition, there was one meet that I went to. It was a nationals meet, and it wasn't the last Raw Nationals. It would have been probably 2022 or something like that. And everybody, like I had family come in. It was in Seattle, Washington. So whatever year that was, I had family come in. So like they told me there was no pressure, but like when you've got family that flies in to a meet to watch you, like there's pressure on you that you put on yourself, because it's not only the work you did, but like now it's resources that other people are spending to support you. And it's like, if I bomb out at this meet, or I come in last place, or like I don't live up to the expectation, like nobody's going to want to come again, you know? And I think my wife went out to go do something, like go get some food or something. And I stayed back in the room, and I was like, you know what? It was the night before the meet. I was like, let me try this like emotional regulation. I call it emotional regulation thing. And it was like a half an hour, and I let myself go to a really dark place. And when I came out of it, the next day, like my lifts were just on point. Like my head was clear. I had no emotional breakdown, like not an emotional breakdown, but like I had no point during the meet where I was just like exhausted from, get up for squats, and then you come down, and then you got to get it back up for bench, and then you come down. And then so that's how that kind of started.
Sounds like your wife was a very wise person for her age.
Right. Yeah. And she helped me out a lot. And that's one thing I tell people when they're talking about like getting into dating, and or they're dating somebody and they don't know if it's the right fit or whatnot. I'm like, well, if you can have conversations like I had with my wife, like there's not a lot of people that I could talk about emotional stuff with. Yeah. Like that to me we were a good fit, I mean, and that's only one piece of the puzzle, so, but yeah, she definitely was able to take in the information that I was giving her, figure out what exactly I was saying, because the way I probably said it people would not be like, how did she come to that conclusion? You know what I mean? So you also have to know the person that you're talking to.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. That's pretty damn cool that she helped you that way.
Yeah. And, I mean, when you're grieving, there's always dark moments. And I think that doing that also kept me from the side of things where you don't want to be on earth anymore. And so like I tell the young guys, like, hey man, like you do have to process emotion. Like, and I'm not saying that women don't need to know that. I'm just like, I think that most men don't know that, or they feel like they shouldn't.
I agree.
You know, and that's why I always say that I always waited till everybody was gone or I was by myself, because yes, you don't like necessarily don't want somebody to see you going through that dark place. Like my roommate, when I was at World Games, you have a roommate. Like they don't allow you to stay by yourself. I just told the guy, I was like, hey man, the night before the meet, I'm going to need an hour. It's a do not disturb. Don't come in the room. You tell me when I can have that hour and I'll make it work. And he didn't know why. You know, I just told him I need the hour. And so I just planned it out. And I'm not saying everybody can do that, but you know, it's been something I've developed over, you know, years.
That's interesting. I agree with you though. I think it's, I don't know if I want to call it a stigma, but men, especially nowadays, because we've gone through this, we're still going through this woke period, right? And then you get all of the keyboard warriors online talking about toxic masculinity. Right. And then you got the other side where people are saying there's not enough masculine men, and masculine men, you know, they're the leaders, they're the providers, they're the ones that, you know, protect, they're the ones that care for the family and all of that stuff. And it makes it for a very confusing mindset when you think, okay, yes, men should be like that, but then how does a man be like that and then do what you're doing and have those emotional states every few months or 6 months or whatever? Right. It's kind of like an oxymoron in a way.
Right. And I mean, yeah, it's one of those things, like I said, like if I didn't say it on this podcast or talk about it with the guys that I'm training with, like if you want to know, you know, like we're in a gym right now, like, but like I'm at my best when I'm in a gym. So if you want to actually have real conversations with me, typically it's going to be in the gym. Yeah. And that's why, like, when I'm training with those guys, I'll open up about that kind of stuff. But like, if somebody were to do what I'm talking about, you don't have to tell anybody. Yeah. It's just, you're just regulating yourself. You're making sure that you're not, because like, what would be worse? Having a breakdown in Myers or Walmart, or doing it at a regimented time when you can fully go through the full process, you know? And as far as like the toxic masculinity stuff and all that, like my dad, one of my best friends, but he would always talk about being the stand in the gap man. So you're in the valley, you're in the gap, like whatever the hard thing is, that's what you're willing to do. And as long as you have that mindset, odds are you're going to be on the right side of things. So, you know, I kind of look at it as like, I don't know, you know, I know there's definitions going out about what the different toxic masculinity and stuff like, and I just look at it as like, if the hard thing is to, you know, do X, that's probably what I should be doing. Yeah. You know, as long as it's not hurting anybody. Right. And as long as it's being what would be considered a good person. Yep. You know, standing on my beliefs and, you know, treating women with respect and standing up for my family and calling out friends and family, not in a mean way, but in a constructive way on BS. You know, that's kind of where it's at.
I agree. I mean, a lot of the, I don't know, influencers or whatever you want to call it, they say that. They say, there's not enough people doing hard things nowadays. Right. It's too easy for everybody. Right. And I agree wholeheartedly with that. Yeah. So more people need to do hard shit.
Right. I mean, and like, I think that's one reason why I gravitated towards lifting weights. But, you know, it's interesting because like you beat yourself up in the gym and you can walk out of the gym just destroyed. Like, you know, like your body can just be depleted and stuff. But like at the end of the day, if somebody called me and they were like, hey man, like my car's broke down, like I need help. I need somebody to come over and help me with this, or a project on a house or something like that. You're destroyed. But like you're so used to doing the hard things that's like, oh, okay, yeah, man. Like give give me 10 minutes. Let me refuel. Like, I'll be there. Like, give me some time to get there. So, I think that's one piece that the people in general, I don't want to say a generation's missing. I think it's just, kind of the way the world works now with us being able to lean on technology as opposed to just do the hard thing.
I find that a lot with business. I think that business has given me a very thick skin because of what you have to deal with when you run a business. And when shit happens, the average person would be like, holy fuck, are you serious? And me now, I'm just like, I mean, that's just part of the day. You know?
Right. And that's a cool correlation. Because lifting heavy circles is one thing, but like, yes, being in business and like you and I were talking, like I have, a business that I'm trying to develop and clients and stuff like that. But like you're doing it and it's like the things that I'm going to have to learn, you've already learned it. And like, I could probably, this thing happened. Customer, like, I can't believe it. You'd be like, oh yeah, man. Like that happened 3 times a day. Right? So for sure.
But I mean, like you said, like going to the gym and lifting weights, you learn you're not going to be successful in all of your lifts.
Right.
If you decide this week, all right, I'm going to come in, I'm going to max out on my bench and I want to do 225 and you come in and 225, you fall flat. Well, what does that tell you? That tells you it's not going to happen today, but it will happen. You just have to continue fucking chasing it and working towards it. It'll eventually happen. It's with anything in life. You're going to fail. You're going to fail a lot. You just don't give up.
Right. And I mean, consistency. Yeah. I mean, like that was the piece. I never really thought about that. Like it's weird because like you think about like what mindset was I in when I started? Because first time I picked up weights was when I was like 12 and a half. Like I wasn't thinking about consistency. Like, I got to be consistent with this and blah, blah. But it's like, now you're talking 24 years later. And it's like, yeah, man, like you keep showing up. Like you keep like, if you refuse to quit, and I'm not saying that every single person who refuses to quit is going to be a world champion or a national champion or something like that. That's the unfortunate part about it. Yeah. Because I've had businesses that I've tried and they failed. And it wasn't because I wasn't consistent. It's just that was not my thing. You know what I'm saying? And people would be like, well, you quit, didn't you? And I'm like, well, you got to have some wisdom. If you're dumping thousands of dollars into something and it's going to bankrupt you. Maybe find a passion or find something else. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I think that's where you have to small goals and like, hey, if you're meeting your small goals, you're still progressing and you're probably, I would say that somebody who's setting small goals and even making a 2.5 to 5 pound gain every 20 to 40 weeks, you're doing better than 99% of the population.
Yeah, for sure. That was kind of a light bulb moment for me when I was interviewing Eddie, when I had Eddie on the podcast. I don't think you realize, when I was lifting with Eddie and training with Eddie was just a phenom. Right. And so you were just like, it's just another day, Yeah. He's just, you say to yourself, he's a genetic elite, which he is. He's been doing this a lot of years, blah, 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 blah. You start telling all your stories, these stories to yourself, convincing yourself, these are the reasons why a person is the way that they are.
Right.
But what he said was, because I kind of framed a question, how did you handle if you didn't make a lift in the gym, part of your program? Me, I would be like, I'd be so upset at myself, and then I'd start second guessing myself the following week when I would try it again. He was just like, well, I never would, because his mentality was so strong. And he said, even if I did, I knew I would make it the next week. It's like that mental fortitude,
right?
I think is what gave Eddie that edge. It's kind of like Jordan, right? That's why they say Eddie is the Michael Jordan of powerlifting. Michael Jordan, yes, he was extremely talented, and yes, he worked hard. but he had a mental fortitude that I think was far superior than most of the other opponents on the court.
Yeah, and you'd have to be at his level for that long.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't think about it until after the fact. I'm like, fuck, maybe that's why I didn't do really well in powerlifting, because I didn't have the mental fortitude back then, you know?
Well, and that's, that's going back to that. That's why I spent a lot of time. I mean, like, at one time in my life, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but like, I bought the courses. Like, I did the work. Like, I was like, okay, this guy has another course out on how to be mentally tough.
Yeah.
And like, okay, like, I do the work, and I'd be like, well, there's nothing. And like, a few different times I'd buy the courses and be like, it's all the same stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I think it might even have been Eddie that I was talking to him one day, and he's like, why don't you just decide to be mentally tougher?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, that it's easy to say that, but like,
yeah.
And then like, I just started actively making the choice of like, because there's also that aspect, and I think most people know I'm religious,
mm-hmm.
you know, and it's like, if you ask for patience, mm-hmm. God's not just going to make you patient. Mm-hmm. He's going to give you, things in life to give you the ability to be patient.
It's my favorite scene in Bruce Almighty 2.
Yes. Yeah.
It is literally my favorite scene where let me tell the scene if people don't know.
Yeah.
It's the wife is upset at her husband because he's doing all this outlandish shit, or building this ark, and she's eating at a restaurant. She asks the waiter for a refill of her fries, and he's like, and it's God, right? Mm-hmm. It's Morgan Freeman. And he says, sure thing, and looks at her, and he's like, oh, you look upset. And then she asks him, like, what do you do when your husband blah, 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 blah. And then he said that exactly what you're saying. Do you think if somebody asks God to be loved, he fills them with warm, fuzzy feelings? No, he gives them the opportunity to be loved.
Right.
Do you think if somebody asks God for patience, he gives them patience? No, he gives them the opportunity to be patient.
Right.
I love that scene.
Yeah, and I think that when I heard that for the first time, that was a light bulb moment for me.
For sure.
And with all the stuff that Eddie and I had talked about, and Jeremy and various other lifters and stuff, and it was like, well, I've been asking to be mentally tough for a long time now.
Yeah.
Maybe I've just not been taking the opportunity when it's arose to just be mentally tougher. And realizing that, like, just because it was like when you're taking big weights, there is an aspect of respecting the weight and not being afraid of it, but giving it its respect. That if you don't do this right, you may not walk away.
Right.
Like there's a real, when you get to certain weights, that's just the reality.
Yep.
And I think that when I started to think along those lines is when I started to build that. And I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think I'm mentally the toughest or a mentally super tough person. I think I'm on my way to being a better, mentally tougher person in life in general.
Work in progress.
Right. Yeah,
Don't you find that fascinating, though, that, like, again, going back to Eddie's never taken a fucking course in his life on how to be mentally tough.
Not at all.
Most of these high-level athletes or high-level business people, they've never taken courses on how to be mentally tough. They're just naturally there. But then you got people like me and you who will buy the course on how to be mentally tough.
Yep.
I just find that so fascinating how some people are just naturally born with that ability.
And I'm wondering, like, I don't know a lot about, like when you start talking to the high level athletes, like I think Tom Brady talked about how his dad was his hero.
Yeah.
And he didn't really go into how, like, I haven't heard a lot about his childhood, but I'd like to know what his childhood was like with his dad or his mom, and was it something that they would say or the way that they would handle different things that happened when he was a child that started that mental toughness without him knowing it? Because if so, I'm grown. Like there's I got to work on it myself. But when you're thinking about that, it's like my brother has kids and my sister has kids. Is there things that I could be doing with them or saying to them, or when a situation arises, you let XYZ happen and that starts to build that little bit of mental toughness. I don't know. Like, it was something that my brother and I were talking about during one of our various training sessions, and it kind of came up about mental toughness and, just high level athletes, and like, why can you have like twins?
Yep.
And one is like a super athlete and the other one's like, I could care less.
I had my friend Jess on the podcast. She's a therapist, and we kind of got in a discussion debate about nature versus nurture kind of thing.
I think I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And, she was heavy on nurture. She feels like that's, a learned behavior. And I don't agree with that, because I have seen, of course she has as well, but I have seen firsthand, going back to kids, like sometimes like you could have siblings, two brothers, doesn't even have to be twins. The one brother will be a psychopath on the field and be like crazy good. And it's not like the parents are like, you need to do this, or it's not like the parents are like, rewarding them for that behavior. Their reward is the feeling that they feel about themselves for doing well in that situation.
Right.
The other sibling will be completely opposite and not have that at all.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
So it's not like, again, even if you take the twin situation, right? Same genetics, but they could have polar opposite personalities.
Right.
So I really can't see how that is a nurtured behavior. There's just some people that are just born with it.
Right. And so that's why when you think about it, and it, I think my brother was kind of talking about how like he wants to be the best father he can, obviously, to his kids, but it's like at the end of the day, they are who they are.
They are,
They are their own person.
Yep.
And they are going to make the decisions based on, like you said, they're psycho on the football field, or whatever field they're playing on.
Yeah.
I go to football because that's what I played in high school. But that's just the way that their brain was wired. When they were born.
Yeah, I just find that stuff so fascinating.
Right.
It just really draws me. Because then even yourself. I mean, you're a high level athlete. You're winning world titles. But then you still have to do your exercises to slightly improve your mental game.
Right.
Know?
Yeah. And I mean, and like I said, it's becoming less and less often that I need to do it. And I mean, I guess if we go along that track that you're going down, it might just be a rewiring of my brain in an aspect. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think when I first got into business for myself, actually bought the business, like same thing with you. I've done businesses and they failed. And then when I bought these businesses, I had bought a Tony Robbins course.
Yep.
And I did his business coaching, and I learned a lot from it. But it boils down to kind of what you're saying is like, you could spend all that money, but if you're not going to put the reps in to try and improve your mental game and do the things required, because it's like we're saying, like some people just naturally have it, but then someone like me, I've got to actually work to get better mentally.
Right.
And I think that's one thing that's helped, because where I came from prior to buying the businesses, I didn't want to lead in that same direction that the prior business was.
Right.
So that's why I was compelled to get into Tony Robbins, because I think that what he preaches is, I mean, it's spot on.
Yeah, I've liked a lot of the stuff. That was one of the courses that I also
did you?
Did, yeah. I really like a lot of his stuff.
I love his stuff. Yeah. It's very, very applicable to everyday life.
And he also takes the approach of like, he doesn't talk over people. He talks and like when he answers questions, he talks at the person where they're at.
Yep.
And not where he's at. And that's a learned skill, I think. And I don't think it's easy to do that, because most people, they go, well, this is my thought process. This is where I am in my life.
Yeah.
And so this is the advice I'd give you based on that. When it's like, well, you should be giving the person the advice based on where they're at.
That's another very hard skill too.
And I only say that because I mean you've coached athletes and you've worked with young athletes, old athletes, and everything in between. And like if I were to give somebody my program that I've developed over the last decade and a half, be like, oh, run this. Are they ready for that?
Yeah.
You know, like do they even know, like when I say, hey, blah, 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 reps and sets, and then if you feel good on this last set, do an AMRAP. Like a brand new lifter is not going to know. Like if they know what an AMRAP is, are they going to know when, hey, the AMRAP is done. If I push for another rep, I might tear something. Yeah. Like that's a learned skill too. Yep. You know, and I think that in life, you know, especially business, you know, you have to all the time, I'm assuming, know when, hey, like we've pushed as far as we can. Like if we push a little bit further, things could go bad. So like, hey, like we pushed far enough in this avenue, let's pivot a little bit.
Yeah. It's a constant work in progress. I think if you talk to anybody, even, you know, I'll listen to podcasts too with high level business people, and they themselves will say, you know, it's a constant work in progress on how to lead well, you know?
Right.
So now, so are you going to start getting ready for the next comp?
Yeah. So I, because I enjoy training so much, I just went into the next block. You know, like I went into the next sector of training. Like we took the gear off for a little bit. I focused on, you know, Ed would always have us do high bar close stance and stuff after a comp, and, you know, changed up my, you know, and Jeremy's big on changing your bench and changing your deadlift a little bit, doing a different variation and stuff. Don't just stay in the same thing all the time. Ed preaches that too. And I just focused on a couple of different things. Because I also, like I said, with coming off of World Games, I didn't know. If you'd asked me the week after World Games, hey man, when's the next meet? And some people did. And I was like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, I'm moving, like I've got life stuff going on. I need to get settled first. And then like, and this is the first time in my life I've ever done that. Because as you know, like at quads, like if you weren't getting ready for a meet, you had just competed at a meet and your next meet was probably scheduled. Yeah. And so like even taking a week, you know, I took a couple of weeks back and I still trained, you know, 3 days, 4 days a week. But it wasn't anything super heavy. We weren't in any equipment. And then, you know, like I'm finishing up, I'm going to Indianapolis this weekend to hit my last heavy bench
at Hartman.
Last heavy bench, last heavy squat of this training block. And then I'll probably take, depending on what they allow me to push to, because at quads, you know, like you'd come in and you'd be like, hey, this is what my goal is to hit. Based on warm-ups and based on what Ed or whoever else was around you would see, they'd kind of let you know. And that, I think that was a key feature that I don't think a lot of people understand, is they would let you know, hey man, it's not in the cards today. Like you need to back it down. Like something's off. Take what you can get and don't go for that today. Right. It didn't happen often, but I mean, there were times where people would back me down, especially Ed, like, hey man, we are not going to that max effort squat today or max effort bench. So based on what I'm allowed to take, I have my goals and stuff. And if I'm able to take exactly what I want to, I'll probably take a full week off of no barbell work. I just go in the gym and hit all my accessories, basically, like a bunch of dumbbell work.
Machines.
What machines we have. A lot of reverse hyper. Is actually, just got it in. It's been exciting to have. A couple of coaches were talking to me, not only at the World Games, but in my prep up to World Games. There's a coach over at Crown Point, Mark Garrett. He was watching my squat a little bit with Jeremy, and there was a couple other coaches there, and all of them agreed, Eddie too, that my hamstrings were one of my limiting factors on my squat right now. And I was like,
Interesting.
What? I was like,
Yeah.
squat is like hamstrings?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, man, like there's something going on in your hamstrings. Like, okay. So I ordered one of those inversion curl machines.
Oh yeah. I have 2 now.
Dude, I paid way too much money for that thing. As you know, like those things are not
They're
cheap.
awesome though.
And been playing around with it.
Which one did you get?
I did not. I got it. I ordered it from China. So
it
took like six months to get here.
Wow.
8 months. Yeah.
Wow.
So like, if you think about it, I just got it. That long ago is when they identified that.
Oh.
And I said, okay. And I immediately went home. I think it was within 2 days of having that event where everybody kind of saw my heavy squat. I ordered the machine. Like, and I think that's a piece.
Is that when you were when Hartman came up and you were training at Crump Point High School?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a piece that people don't understand or don't think about too, is if you were to see me benching and you go, hey, Jared, I think you have a deficiency in X, Y, and Z. And I go, okay, well, what do I need to do to fix that? And you tell me this, and then I talk to Ed about it, and he goes, yeah, you can do that, or you can do this. And I talk to Hartman about it. He goes, you can do this, and you can do this. And those are the things that I can do, and I have to buy a piece of equipment or something like that, or I have to travel every other week to a specific place to be able to get
that
the work
has
in.
it. Yeah.
I think that's the piece that people kind of forget about, is that like if you identified it, identifying it is the hardest part.
For sure.
In my mind, in my opinion.
For sure.
Once you've identified the weakness,
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me? Like, okay,
Yeah.
like, game on. Like, if we know that's the weakness,
Yeah,
let's
you got to
go.
jump on it. Yeah, for sure. Last question. What is your dream maxes before you retire?
So, all credit, no, not all credit, all respect to Blaine Sumner. I would like a shot at his squat record. Not the current Powerlifting America one, the all-time IPF one. It is 512 and a half kilos, which is over 1,100 pounds.
Fuck.
It's like 11, I think it's almost 1,125 or 1,130 pounds.
Wow.
So, and I would have to do that at a body weight of probably around 308 or less. My frame cannot handle. The heaviest I've gotten so far is 306, and I'm well underneath that now. I fixed my diet, and like I said, I got the blood work done. I got on some supplements, like vitamins and stuff, and probiotics and stuff like that to help with my stomach issues and stuff. And like my weight's been dropping off.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, I had appendicitis back in 2014. They have identified, and this is not, I haven't seen the medical
I know where you're
research
going
on
with
it or whatever,
this.
but they said that the appendix is what helps regulate the gut bile.
Yep.
And so like literally I got on a probiotic, and within 2 weeks, like 90% of my stomach issues were gone.
I want to say, I think I read that within the last 3 months that they're saying all of these appendix removals is not a good thing.
Right.
Because they thought it was just what's the word I'm looking for?
Like a useless organ.
Useless organ. Yeah, that was like from when we were still cave people.
Right.
And that's not the case at all.
No. Yeah. Unfortunately, mine had to come out. It was actually torn. It had like torn a little bit, and it had actually been leaking for like 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to like go super into the story, but I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you were there or not. I was squatting heavy that day. I had fallen asleep at work. Here's a short story. I fell asleep at work for like
I vaguely
4
remember
hours.
this.
And like I fell asleep on the stairs, like halfway down the stairs, and woke up and I was like, oh man, like I hope my boss didn't see that. And like when I tell doctors that, they're like, you probably were dying right there. Like you should have probably been dead.
Wow.
And like the only thing I can say is God didn't want, he wasn't done with me yet. And so I came to Quad's gym and I told Ed when I got there, like I'm stretching out, we're getting ready. It's like, yeah, I got like some pain right here. I think I might have like tweaked my ab or tore it or something. He's like, okay. He goes, what we'll do is we'll get you a second shirt, put one shirt down, we'll duct tape around where your ab is. We'll get it tight so that it can't push out so you won't herniate. And then we'll put another shirt over the top and then your belt.
Okay.
Well, Vinny
Yep.
was in nursing school at the time.
Oh.
And he comes walking up and he's like they're getting ready to start duct tape. Man, like we're at like 3 plates. I think I had warmed up like 3 reds, 4 reds or whatever. And he's like, what are you guys doing? And Ed's like, oh, he might have tore his ab or something. And he's like, you don't look so good. And I was like, I don't really feel that good. And he's like, stop. Don't do anything. He takes me down to the locker room and he does that like push test.
Yeah.
Dude.
Went through the ceiling, huh?
Oh, dude. He was like, you're not squatting anymore. He didn't let me go get my bag, nothing. He walked me directly out to my truck, got me in my truck, and he's like, you go immediately to the emergency room. And long story short, I ended up like falling at the hospital. Like it was a mess. Like I had to have like 4 guys pick me up off the ground because like at that time I was pretty heavy too. I lost all function of my legs at one point. Like, we were threading the needle.
Wow.
So that is to say, if you think you're having some medical issues, just go to the Minute Clinic, go somewhere, get it checked out.
Yeah.
But so best lifts that I want to make, I'd like to go for that. First off though, PRing my squat, but I'd like a shot. I'm not saying that like it's a guarantee. I'm not saying that like I won't collapse under the weight, but what I'm saying is I want a shot at 513 or 515 or whatever I have to take. Because I think being able to unrack it and taking the shot at it is like very rare air.
Yep.
And then bench press, if I can figure out the shirt, as you know, like those
I fucking
bench
hated
shirts,
those things.
Like it's such a, like 1 week I can be just nailing it.
Yeah.
And then the next week I come back and I can barely get back to the same weight.
I fucking hated those things.
I would like to have a consistent 365 kilo or 804 bench. I'm very far from that right now. If anybody looks up what I did at World Games, it's 310. So if you're talking 55 kilos
that's
on your bench,
110 pounds.
It's a lot.
Yeah, 120 pounds.
And then deadlift, realistically, at some point over the next 4 years, and you had asked me how long I think I have left. I think I got a decade plus left. I don't know if I have a decade left squatting 500 kilos. You know what I mean? But I think I can be competitive for another decade. There are a lot of big kids coming up though. I might have to drop a weight class. Cause I'm the smallest. I'm like the smallest guy in my weight class. I'm the shortest.
Yeah.
But I would like to take a shot at like 412 and a half kilos in the suit. Raw numbers, I'd like to squat a little over 900 raw. I have to bench over 500 before this is over. I've been so close so many times.
Yeah.
Like you said, that whole failed rep thing.
Yeah.
I've failed just over 500 quite a few times, but like each time it's just a little bit closer.
A little bit closer.
And it's actually coming to the point where my triceps are now getting to the point because in the shirt, like that push through has gotten better. So I think I actually could, if I dedicated a full 10-week block and like, hey, we're going to push the bench and that's it. And I like dial back my deadlift and I dial back my squat. But yeah, I'd like to bench over 500 and then raw deadlift. I'd like to take a shot at 9 raw, but like a conventional puller, super heavyweight, that's a big ask.
Yeah.
If at some point I ever got to the point where I could get in some, what is that? The orange deadlift suit. I think it's a multiply suit. Get some figure eights on and a deadlift bar. And see if I could pull over 1,000.
Oh yeah.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think about that because like you're talking like 1,000 pounds to pick it up off the floor.
Right.
And I think that might get me an invite to like Giants Live or something. Because I'd be like, all those guys are like 6'5" plus.
Yeah, they're big boys.
When I'm squatting heavy, like, your spine compresses a little bit and stuff. I'm probably 5'7".
Yeah.
So like I'd be like 5'7". I'd be the smallest, lightest guy out there.
Yep.
Like try and pull 1,000 pounds.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Jared, man, thanks for coming on. This was a lot of fun.
I appreciate you having me on, man.
Of course,
Telling
man.
Story
Anytime.
and, picking my brain, and it was great talking to you too.
Absolutely.
Like, this is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
I'm excited to see, another decade. You'll be in your 40s, which, is completely doable. Eddie, we've talked about Eddie a lot, but Eddie I think he was 44, 45 at his last meet.
And I mean, honestly, I think it had more to do with how much pain he was in from his hip and stuff.
Yeah.
He probably could have kept going.
Yeah.
And I think that's, and I don't want to go back into a whole long thing, but quality of life is also a thing too.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a big piece of when guys do retire.
Yeah.
Is when your quality of life goes down so much that lifting the heavy circles as a hobby, it's like when you have a family and you have kids and stuff like that, it's like, hey, you can still be really strong.
Yep.
But have the quality of life too.
For sure.
No,
I agree. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I
this was
appreciate
fun.
it. Yeah.
All right, buddy.